expressed on the following broadcasts do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT, Take 12 Radio, or our affiliates. The opinions on this show should not be considered as medical, psychological, or professional advice and are those of the host, co-host, and guest. Take 12 Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting are not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship.
When the static of life fills your brain and the world seems a little too insane, just twist that dial, don't hesitate. There's a haven where good vibes await. Tune in and Take 12 for some joy and cheer. It's the sound of hope coming in crystal clear. Recovery talk and music so grand, a beacon of light, a helping hand.
Well, greetings one and all, and welcome to another fine episode of the world's oldest and original recovery talk and recovery music radio station and podcast, the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show, with myself, the Monty Man, and Jack McCann.
Howdy, howdy.
Hello. All right. In addition, we've got the Monty Man's Weekly Wine, some useless and mindless information, some music by the Blues Buddha, Tom Dudley, at the end of the show, and a topic for you to chew on. Are expectations ever justified? We'll see on this episode of the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show.
It's the sound of hope coming in crystal clear. Recovery talk and music so grand, a beacon of light, a helping hand.
Yes, there you are. There you are. If you're watching on our YouTube feed, oh, Jack is via the Lazy Susan. There he is.
Howdy.
Do that again. Yeah, he's waving his hands all over the place. See what you miss, folks that are just listening to the audio version. Yeah. So go to, if you want to download the YouTube version or watch on YouTube, you can visit our website at take12radio.com and just click on the YouTube icon. That's the easiest way to do it. We're glad you're with us. Are expectations ever justified? Real quick answer: yes or no? What do you think, Jack? Just say yes or no. You say yes, okay?
And no.
And no. Okay. He's going to be one of those guys. Yeah, well, we'll see. A lot of opinions about expectations, especially in the rooms of the 12-steppers and those in the recovery community. As I promised, I'm going to repeat it again. Tommy Dudley, known as the Blues Buddha, is going to be on the show next week. He's done some work with Run DMC. You know what Run DMC is?
That's like...
he's a rapper guy.
35 years ago? Run DMC?
Are we that old?
We are.
Like MC Hammer World?
Yes.
Stuff like that?
That's almost 40 years ago.
Well, anyway, he's doing some work with young people. That is really something that people need to pay attention to. And through music and through just some positive affirmation stuff. So Tommy Dudley's going to be with us. He's just a good friend at Take 12 Recovery Radio. Awesome. I met him many years ago at the 12-Step Music Fest in the Florida Keys. Probably, in my humble opinion, one of the best blues, jazzy musicians that I've ever heard. That it's still alive, that is.
Stevie Ray Vaughan, brother. It was a good one.
Stevie Ray Vaughan. Wow.
B.B. King.
Yeah, B.B. King. I got to see B.B. King.
You did?
Yeah, at the Narcotics Anonymous World Convention in San Diego. He played with Kenny Wayne Shepherd.
Awesome. Who
is Stevie Ray Vaughan's nephew, from what I understand. And Kenny Wayne Shepherd, he played for almost a half an hour, this lead guitar riff. You could see the muscles popping out in his arm. And B.B. King was sitting there because he couldn't stand. He wasn't not in good health. But, man, what a performer. And those two together were amazing. We're in the nosebleed section. I can still see the muscles popping out of of this guy's arm. But anyway, yeah, good stuff. So Tommy Dudley will be on the show next week. Now, this Wednesday on the Cain to Believe Recovery podcast, the topic is going to be accountability. There's a word a lot of people don't like. Indeed. You look like you were going to say something. What were we going to say?
I was going to say Dwayne Allman. You got to play homage to him.
Oh, the Allman Brothers.
No, well, the Allman Brothers are great, but Dwayne
Allman, yeah.
Master slide guitarist. I mean, the guy was just phenomenal.
So many people have come and gone, you know.
Gary Moore, Ry Cooder.
Did you ever see the movie Crossroads?
Yes, Ralph Macchio and Stevie Vai. That was back in the 80s.
Yeah, and the blues guy, the old black man that he went and sat at his feet and learned how to play, and what a great movie that was.
Johnson. He sold his soul to the devils. What the story goes.
Right. And then he took him, and then Ralph took him on at the Crossroads. And and beat him and won.
Yes.
Great movie. All right, let's see what's up here next.
Now you say you're lonely.
Oh my gosh.
You cried the whole night through. Well, you can cry me a river, Monty Man. Cry me a river. 'Cause we don't care about you.
What?
Okay, Monty Man, it's time for your weekly whine, where you cry about something that you're powerless over. So go for it, Monty Man. Cry me a river.
Oh my goodness sakes. Roger's not with us this week. I know he would be rolling over right now.
I am.
He may be back next week for the interview with Tom Dudley, but so this is no reflection on the hamburger ice cream place Hasty Freeze. Yeah, is it Hasty Freeze downtown? Yeah, it happened there, but the people there are fine people, and they're wonderful. But so there's two drive-up windows at Hasty Freeze, one that's closest to the street, one that's in the parking lot. And so we pulled up, Marcia and I pulled up to go around on the side that was in the parking lot, and there was a car in front of us, a BMW, and there was it was not pulled up to the window yet, and there was no car in front of them, and there's this empty spot in front of the order window.
Okay.
Right? And this car's not moving. And so the first thing Marcia noticed, Marcia was driving, she goes, oh, they're on their phone. Not uncommon for people not to pay attention these days and be on their phone. So we sat there patiently, and we sat there, and we sat there, and we sat there. And Marcia goes, is there a car in front of them? And I looked, nope, nobody there. So she gave him a little beep on the horn, a little polite beep, right? The person turned around, threw their hands up, like, what the black, you know, and then pointed it in front of their car as if there was a car there. There was no car there. Like, what am I supposed to do? And then got back on their phone and still didn't move, and sat there and sat there. Finally, the car did, and we sat there patiently, just waiting. And finally, the car moved up. And then she ordered. And then when she got her, and Hasty Freeze takes a while anyway, because they cook everything to order. Mm-hmm. So she ordered, she got the order, she was done. It was obvious. The lady slid the door shut, you know, and everything. And then she ordered something else separately. And then she did it again separately. It was intentional, you could tell, right? And then she did it again. And then when she was all done, she sat there eating, not moving out of the way. I'm like, why? Is it so important for you to try to intentionally irritate other people? Is that what you do? I mean, I understand people having a bad day, but come on. I mean, okay, so she waved her hand. She didn't like the fact that we gave her a little beep on the horn. I get it. But then to carry it out that far. And then when she finally did pull out, right, there was no cars coming. And she sat there with part of her car sticking out and just sat there.
So what was your expectations, Monty?
We didn't have any at that point.
Get
It's
out
like
of the
we
way.
have no idea what this person's up to. What?
Oh, Lordy.
And so for the listeners, if you've got an interesting fast food drive-through story, I'd love to hear it. I've had people pay for my food, pull up, and they go, "Oh yeah, the car before you paid."
Yep.
I've had that happen more than once.
Yes.
And then I on several times when that happened, then I just paid for the guy behind me. So I don't know how long it went or how long it had been going.
Pay it forward. Good things.
But I've had more of that happen than I've had of like this thing with this lady. But yeah, there you go.
This is what happens when we get road rage. We smash into their vehicles.
I guess. Hey, it's time for some useless and mindless information.
Yay.
We'll add it to weekly. This is Don't Bite Your Nails Day.
Oh, nasty anyway.
National Don't Bite Your Nails Day. So that could be interpreted many ways. If you're a construction worker, well, today I'm not going to bite my nails. Oh, do you bite your nails?
Oh, no. You ever look at the crap that's underneath? Oh, excuse me.
Do you ever put nails in your mouth while you're working, though, and you're pounding?
Have I? Yes.
Yeah. Not smart. Especially if you're up on a ladder and, I mean, the mouth is the great. I don't know what to say about
It's
this.
the holder of all
It's
things.
the holder of all things.
It holds your coffee.
Yeah. So don't bite your nails, Tate. I guess some people are able to chew their toenails. I knew I could do that when I was a kid.
A long time ago.
You could bounce a ripe cranberry like a rubber ball. Isn't that fun?
Really?
Yeah. I wonder how many people are going to actually go out and buy a cranberry just to see if they can bounce it.
Just go to the store and stand in the aisle.
I knew you were going to say that. You just steal the cranberry.
No, it's staying in the store. I'm not stealing it.
Okay.
I'm conducting a scientific experiment.
A chicken once lived for 18 months without its head.
True, but not true. The head was still attached. It was hanging by a thin piece of muscle. I read up on that one.
Really?
Yes,
That's just gross.
it is.
An elephant's trunk has more muscles than the entire human body. Yeah, I buy that.
I would too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's see here. Snails have 14,000 teeth. I knew that.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Hummingbirds are the only birds that can fly backwards. I knew that one too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wonder how many teeth a slug has.
I don't know.
I don't care for them.
Do you know, and here's something interesting. The Pope cannot be an organ donor.
Really?
So for my Catholic friends out there, if you know if that's accurate or not, let me know. We have no guarantee that any of these things are true. But that would make sense, I think, because of the way they intern the Pope's body when he passes away. I mean, there's a lot of religiosity that goes on within Catholicism that might point to the fact that that is a very sacred thing, and so you don't mess with the Pope's body. I would understand that,
I do know that on the Jehovah's Witness, they do not.
I'm not hearing you. You got to put your mic in
Sorry.
front of you, buddy.
You not hear me now?
Yes, now you can. Now I can hear you.
I do know on the Jehovah's Witness folks, they do not allow blood transfusions.
Blood transfusions, right?
Which was it was very surprising when I heard that the first time.
Yeah, yeah. So I saw the movie Conclave. Have you heard about this movie?
No.
Conclave, very interesting. That's all I'll say about that.
Okay.
It's very interesting. If you have an opportunity to watch it, John Lithgow from Third Rock from the Sun.
Harry and the Hendersons.
Harry and the Hendersons, yeah. He plays a leading role in it. A lot of main actors in this thing. Just a very slow moving, but I couldn't stop watching it. A very interesting movie about the selection of the Pope once the Pope dies, or the new Pope, which is what's called the conclave. These guys meet and vote, and what came of it at the end of the movie will just kind of blow your mind. Anyway, yeah, there it is right there. Kind of a trippy movie. Anyway, okay, well, that's it for the weekly wine and useless and mindless information. Let's see what season.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, that does it for the weekly wine. Let's go on, Monty Man. Just go on.
All right, let's listen to this and we'll be back to the topic.
Frogs and butterflies, we've both been born again. I'm singing about bullfrogs and butterflies, we've both been born again. Come on, try it with me.
Barry McGuire here. You're listening to Take 12 Recovery Radio.
That's it. Come on. Bullfrogs and butterflies, we've both been born again.
Hey, do you ever feel stuck in your recovery? Well, 12 Essential Insights for Emotional Sobriety by popular recovery author Dr. Alan Berger will help you get unstuck. For an autographed copy, visit abphd.com. This book is also available on Amazon.
This is Tom Williams
and Alicia Martinez, and we'd like to invite you to join us right here at Take12Radio.com for the Came to Believe Recovery podcast.
Topics will include a deep look into the how and why the 12-step movement was so successful in the past and how it can experience that success again today.
You can catch up on all our episodes at Take12Radio.com by clicking on the Came to Believe Recovery podcast banner.
And I came to believe in a power much higher than I.
You've tuned in to the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show. I am the Monty Man, recovered alcoholic, and I'm here in the studio with Jack McCann.
Howdy, howdy.
Yes, indeed, there he is. We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube feed. Go to Take12Radio.com and just click on the YouTube icon.
Yes, please.
Otherwise, you can download us for fun and for free on all the major podcasting platforms listed at Take12Radio.com or wherever you get your podcast. All right. Are expectations ever justified? Jack, you say yes.
And no.
And no.
Depends on the circumstance.
You're just being difficult.
No.
You are being difficult.
Perspective, Monty, perspective.
So we hear within the rooms, within the 12-step rooms, we are never short on people taking things out of context, right?
Yes, very true.
Church, Rotary Club, Boy Scouts, AA, it doesn't matter.
Here.
Yeah. We would never do such a thing.
Nope.
But we really aren't. I mean, within the rooms of recovery, we hear a lot of people trying to make sense out of nonsense, and you can't. From well-meaning people that are echoing what they've heard, who are echoing what they've heard, and misquoting things from the big book or taking them out of context and that kind of thing. And one of those things is that expectations are never, ever justified. That you can never have expectations, that we need to leave that up to people who are more qualified to deal with anger. Right. So that statement, just how I said it there, is totally out of context. Okay. But I do understand the reasoning behind maybe backing off, especially if you're new in sobriety and that kind of thing, maybe backing off the expectations until you learn how to manage them a little differently, right?
Yes and no, because when you first come in, your expectation is the person that you found that brings forth attractiveness to the program in and of itself. Your expectation is they're going to be there every single time you show up, and when they don't, you go kind of in a depressive
Well, that's
mode.
why I'm saying maybe it's a good thing not to have any right in the beginning.
True, but most of us don't understand that little simple philosophy. Don't have any expectations.
No, I know.
Okay.
I know. I know. So, from Psychology Today, psychologists have long studied the role expectations play in shaping human behavior. At their core, expectations are predictions about what will happen in the future. We set expectations based on past experiences, social norms, and personal beliefs. But when these predictions are unmet, we experience the uncomfortable gap between what we expected and what actually occurred. So that makes total sense. So let's talk about 3 dangers of unrealistic expectations. Okay. So when I say that, that would suggest that maybe there are some realistic ones, and we can talk about that here in a minute. So 3 dangers. While having high expectations can be motivating, right? They can also backfire when they become unrealistic. The gap between our expectations and reality is a significant predictor of dissatisfaction, anxiety, and even depression. So here are some key psychological dangers of setting unrealistic expectations. Number 1, disappointment and frustration.
True.
Kind of a no-brainer there. Unmet expectations are one of the primary drivers of dissatisfaction in life. Studies found that people tend to overestimate how much their future selves will achieve, leading to chronic disappointment when those expectations aren't met. So you find this put high expectations on yourself philosophy very early on in life. You know, maybe parents will teach it, set high goals for yourself. Now, there's nothing wrong with that in and of itself, right? True. Set high goals. Or maybe a coach, right? You are probably going to be the best athlete you can be if you can set high expectations and do things to stay motivated as the track star, as the quarterback, as whatever it is. And the coach will push and push and push. Reach for the stars. Go for the gusto. Just really, really plug in and put your best foot forward. You can do it. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, right? I mean, or is there? What do you think, Jack?
Well, I think expectations of such, when you're a hobby, you become better as time goes along, and your expectations eventually become a master at doing what you do. And if you don't, you sorely become disappointed and you lose interest in what you're doing unless you have a motivator. I still want to do this. I'm passionate about it, just like my sobriety. My expectation is, 20 years from now, if I'm still alive, I'll still be doing the same thing. Maybe not in front of audience with you, but I will. Maybe that's a bad analogy, but I think when we have our expectations so high that they're unrealistic, we become very disappointed and we stop doing those things that brought us sobriety in the first place, because this is what we're talking about, expectations presented in the AA program or recovery.
So it's not wrong then to set an expectation.
No.
But if you set it so high that it's
unrealistic,
and then you don't meet it, and those of us within the recovery community tend to be perfectionists.
No.
So if we don't meet something, if we don't follow through with it to our unreasonable expectations, then we go the other way and we just give up.
Yes.
Just throw in the towel.
It happens time and time again.
I couldn't do it anyway.
Nope.
Couldn't stay sober anyway.
Nope.
My grandpa was an alcoholic. His dad was an alcoholic. I am too, and so I just give up. I can't do this.
Always going to be.
Yeah, always going to be a drunk.
Yes.
So what about that negative self-talk? So we've both known people that will introduce themselves in a meeting as, "Hi, I'm so-and-so, and I'm a drunk."
Yes.
And they haven't had a drink in years. you know, is that kind of putting a label on yourself that can kind of set you up for trouble, you think?
I would think so, because your expectations, you already said it, that this is the level you're going to stay at. I am a drunk and nothing's going to change. Yes, I've admitted it, but you go in and out the door, in and out the door, in and out the door, because that's where you set your expectations. You're not setting yourself up for success. You already set the stage for failure on a consistent basis.
So no room for improvement, just room for failure, and that's it.
Nope. They're very knowledgeable. They can quote verse per verse out of the book itself, and they can tell you how to do it, but they will not follow those little bitty guidelines themselves.
So I have a friend who introduces himself as he is a recovering blankety blank blank blank, and he says, I'll always be recovering, and I believe him.
Mm-hmm.
I believe him, because he's got that mindset that he will always be sick, and he will always have to do A plus B plus C = D. He will always have to be in that realm, and he can never move past it.
Exactly.
And that's unfortunate.
It is, but does it fits him? And
It seems to.
Is he sober still? Or does he go in and out?
No, he's, from everything that I can tell, I believe he's sober.
So he's doing what works for him.
You know, the thing that disturbs me about it is what he's teaching the newcomer by saying that. But I digress.
Yes.
Number 2, the cause of unreasonable expectations: anxiety and stress. Expectations can also increase stress levels. When we set high expectations for ourselves or others, we create a pressure-filled environment. According to a study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology in 2017, individuals with high self-imposed expectations are more prone to anxiety disorders and burnout.
Agree.
Yeah.
Are they a type A personality or a type B personality? Which one is which?
I'm A through Z.
Hi, I'm Sybil, and I have 9 different personalities.
I'm Sybil.
You remember that movie?
Yes,
Oh.
I do.
I don't.
I
It was
do.
before. It was when I was still.
I read the book, and then I saw the movie later.
Oh, Silence of the Lambs. Sorry.
Yeah. There's a guy that had some interesting ideas. Number 3, that is created by unreasonable expectations: relationship strain. Unrealistic expectations in relationships, whether personal or professional, can cause significant strain. Partners who held overly idealistic views of their relationships were more likely to experience dissatisfaction over time. The gap between idolized expectations and reality often leads to conflict and disappointment.
Wow.
Yeah. So what kind of expectations are you putting on the other person or your relationship in general?
They're going to fix me. Ooh.
Or I'm going to get into this relationship because I have a mission to fix them.
Yes. And you can't. You can only fix yourself.
Do you think fixers are that way because there's a payoff for them?
It's a high for them. It really is.
Yeah.
If you think about it, I fixed them. I made them better.
So what happens when the person gets fixed? Next?
They move forward. They go on to the next person.
To another person. Or if they can't, they go on to another person.
Yes.
Man, the expectations there, gee. Parents do that. What did we do wrong? Right?
And then you turn it around and work on your grandkids.
Right? What did we do wrong? Oh, we'll do it right this time.
There's no manual. There really is no manual on how to be a great parent.
Well,
no.
There's the Bible.
Yeah, but how many follows that verse for verse, word for word?
I do.
Okay.
Even the part that says that I'm a liar.
Money.
I might sponsor you to say, I'm a liar. Honest, I am. I'm like, okay, wow. So here's a question for you, and I thought this was interesting. Why do we do this then? Why do we set unreasonable expectations when most of us know the difference between reasonable ones and unreasonable ones? So why do we set the bar so high, and then when we do meet it, we raise it again? Why do you think we do that?
Because for me, once I got out of that hopeless state of mind, body, and spirit, I started running because I wanted to improve my health, and I did meet the goals.
Oh, literally hitting the track, right?
Yes, I did. I quit smoking. I started getting in better shape because I'd done so much damage for all those years. And now as I roll into my mid-60s now, I find that I still want to be in good shape, but my knees don't allow me. My body is giving me fits. And it was like I had surgery on my shoulder here not too long ago, and my wrist. And my expectations is I still want to be that young man, but realistically I have to look at I'm not. But I can still go after goals, and they can be filled with actual expectations that are realistic. Or I want to be a great lapidary guy. I really do.
A what guy?
Lapidary.
Lapidary.
Yes, messing with rocks. I love
lapidary.
Yes, lapidary. And it's one of my joys in life, and I have the equipment to back it up. I have the tons of rocks that back it up. And my expectation, once the arm quits hurting and get back in full swing, is that I'll get back in there, cutting up lots of rocks, making slabs, going back and become...
So what's the word again?
Lapidary. Lapidary. Thanks, Monty.
Lapidary. Lapidary.
So expectations can be a good thing and can be a bad thing. If your expectations somebody else is going to change your life, become drug-free, alcohol-free, you're setting yourself up for failure by yourself, because what they do does not have bearing on you. So maybe that's a little too far-feet.
Well, no, I think you make some good points there. So here's three thoughts why we do this. Number one, optimism bias. Optimism bias. Let me explain. Humans are naturally optimistic. We tend to believe that the future will be better than the past and that we will achieve more than we actually will. This optimism bias is beneficial in some ways. It keeps us motivated, but it also leads to inflated expectations.
And failure. And when that failure hits, what happens? We quit.
Yeah, we quit. And we don't see the value in failure. And we don't look at it as a learning situation and to learn from and grow and keep going and keep putting our best foot forward.
Yes.
So we give up completely.
Yes.
So what is that slogan? The only time you fail is the very last time you try, right? So we have this optimism bias. Optimism is great. I've heard a couple times so far from what I've read, I've heard the word motivation. I am learning that motivation is misleading because motivation is based on feelings. I'm looking for something to motivate me to stay on my diet. I'm looking for something to motivate me to exercise. I'm looking for something to motivate me to take care of the yard, right? And so I'm waiting for a feeling to happen instead of practicing discipline. Okay, I don't feel motivated to go to the gym, but I'm going to do it anyway because I know it's the right thing to do, regardless of being motivated.
But when does it come into play not being the right thing, but it's something that you want to do? When does that switch over?
Well, sometimes you have to do what you don't want to do because you know it's the right thing to do.
But what is the motivating factor behind such?
I don't think there is. I think it's discipline.
I don't want to do it, and not doing it for the right reasons is because I've got this self-mindset that if I don't, I'm not going to get the benefits from doing such. If I don't go to a meeting, I'm not going to get the benefits. Yeah, the list goes on and on. So I'm trying to play the other side of the coin here, Monty.
The devil.
Nope. I'll let you handle that one.
Oh, another great movie. The Advocate.
Oh.
Yeah.
And The Firm.
And The Firm. Oh, we could go on and on.
Yes.
Keanu Reeves played in The Advocate, I think it was. And what's his name? The guy...
Al Pacino?
Al Pacino played the attorney that hired him.
Charlie Theron?
Yeah, Charlie. What a great movie! I just, oh gosh, good stuff.
I just watched a movie on Friday night called Must Love Dogs.
Must Love Dog. I think I've seen that.
Absolutely fantastic movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, here's another reason why we set unrealistic expectations: social comparison. Social comparison theory, developed by Leon Festinger in 1954. Yeah, I'd like to have that name. Dr. Festinger.
Finkelheimer.
Yeah. There is a Dr. Finkelstein.
I'm sorry.
He's like the father of Vivitrol or something like that. Anyway, the social comparison theory suggests that we determine our self-worth based on how we compare to others. In the age of social media, this comparison is constant and often leads to unrealistic expectations about what our life should look like. Man, does it ever. The amount of people that will compare themselves to their high school buddies, right, and go, why is he successful and I'm not? How come he gets the yacht and all I got is a paddle boat? Why? I mean, we've always had this keeping up with the Joneses mentality, but since social media, where all of our private personal stuff is out there to see, people compare themselves with each other all the time, and it's been cause for self-harm.
Mm-hmm.
People have engaged in self-harm based on how they feel about their friends and families posting on social media. That's crazy.
No way.
Yeah. Social comparison.
I cannot believe something like that would happen.
He said tongue-in-cheek. And the third one, cultural narratives. Cultural narratives also play a role in many societies. Success is defined by specific milestones. Getting a degree, landing a high-paying job, or achieving financial independence by a certain age. These social expectations can create pressure to meet milestones that may not align with our personal goals. Yeah, this is stuff that Dad taught, in a lot of cases. Okay, so when I was growing up, my dad didn't pound this into me like some dads did, but he did encourage me to go get a college degree.
Mm-hmm.
But he also said, if you don't, at the very least, go to trade school.
Yes.
Right. So I think he was very wise in that. And I would say today, chuck the whole idea of college and university. You're just going to end up in debt for the rest of your life. Go to trade school, learn a trade, right? Because a lot of those trades people are always going to need. They're not always going to need somebody with a business degree.
We need more doctors, nurses, medical field.
Sure.
But we need less people that have political science degrees that...
study the mating habits of the dandelion.
Or the geographical relocation of the slugs from Oregon to some other place like California.
Gosh.
Oh, man.
Yeah, defined by milestones, getting a degree, landing a high-paying job. My mother, bless her heart, when she was alive, she said something to me. It really stung, and she didn't mean what she said. She was acting out of frustration over another issue, and this is what she came out. But I owned a sign business for a number of years in Lebanon, Oregon, called Waynedale Vital Signs. And my mom got mad at me one time and said, someday Marcia's going to leave you because you don't have a real job. Right? And I'd worked very, very hard to get that sign business up and running. And it felt like a personal attack. But it was this mentality that a real job is when you make a lot of money working for somebody else, right?
Yeah.
And with the goal of taking their job. That's a real job. But you being in business for yourself, that's not really a real job.
Yeah. When are you going to go out and get a real job and quit messing around with this?
Yeah.
When are you going to grow up?
When are you going to stop selling cutlery?
You're not a teenage boy anymore. Okay.
How long are you going to sell vacuum cleaners, for crying out loud?
Oh, Kirby, I hated those. Oh,
I sold Filter Queen Majestics.
oh,
Yeah. $1,600.
yeah. Talk up the price.
Yeah,
Talk up the price. Make that big bonus.
So I heard something at a 12-step meeting that I really thought, man, it makes so much sense. Because I'd heard for years about you can't afford, as a person in recovery, you can't afford to have any expectations. And in fact, my first sponsor told me, I said, well, if I agree to meet with you for coffee at Denny's at 2:00, I can expect for you to at least give me a phone call if you're not going to show, right? And he said, no, you, Mr. Meyer, can't afford to have any expectations. And I balked at that, and maybe he was right at the time. I don't know. But I heard this guy recently in a meeting say, I don't think it's the expectations that we shouldn't have. I think it's the way we address them when they're not met, which makes total sense. Is it okay if you and I make this agreement for you to show up at the studio at a certain time, for me to expect to hear from you if you can't make it?
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's not.
Now, if I go out and I, kick the neighbor's dog in the head because I'm mad at you for not giving me a call, then we got a problem.
No, you have a problem.
I have a problem. But that's not the expectations problem. That's my issue because I don't know how to respond properly to disappointment. I don't think we stop having expectations. I think we need to start learning how to respond to ones that aren't fulfilled so it doesn't knock us off our center. We have an emotional beam that we live on, and it's okay to be hurt, to even be frustrated, but it's not okay to allow yourself to be knocked off the center of your emotional beam because of somebody else's behavior. And we did it for years, Jack, didn't we?
Yes.
We allowed other people's behavior to knock us off our center, and then what did we do? We drank and used.
Chaos.
And medicated.
Yes, chaos. No, if you've set up a meeting time with somebody, yeah, one time I can understand, 2 times, third time, nah. Even though in the good book it says 7 times 70. How many times shall you be forgiven? Okay. It's kind of
You haven't showed up on time in 7,000.
But it comes down to how much are you willing to invest? If this person's sincere in their approach of recovery,
right,
then you're going to do what you can to help them. But after a while, you have to realize that these expectations of doing such is you're falling short and you're not doing them any good because they're not willing to invest the time either. So it's like, hey, you need to go find a different course of action. I've had to do that because I was willing to put in the time, but they weren't.
Yeah, sure.
And that's in any relationship, though.
Do you remember Juan?
Juan
O?
Yes, I remember him very well. How do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was the very first interview I ever had on Take 12 Radio over 21 years ago.
He started me on this journey and he pointed me in your direction.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
What a trip.
Yes.
And Juan was one of these guys. He was a tradition guy, I mean, and I thought if he puts his stamp of approval on this thing, I know I'm going to be all right. And so he came and he did. And I'll never forget one of his favorite things to say was next, right? So if somebody came to him and wanted him to help them work through the steps, he laid out a simple plan of action based on the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And if they weren't willing to do it, he didn't get mad at them. He just said next. Because there was plenty of people standing in line that wanted Juan as a sponsor.
But also, he said, I'm a kind of a rent sponsor. I get you started, and then I point you in the direction
of
another sponsor. And
Sure.
that's what he did with me. Still think he's a great, wonderful guy. He's down south here in Oregon somewhere. But
yeah,
he reaches out, hey, how you doing?
he learned how to read by reading the Big Book.
Wow.
He literally, this is he actually he knew how to read, but he had forgotten. His alcoholism really messed him up.
Wet brain.
But he went through the military. He accomplished all sorts of degrees and awards and everything, and it was all in a blackout. Years of blackout. And he woke up in an AA meeting. Literally woke up out of multi-year blackout in an AA meeting.
Yep.
And couldn't read, and learned how to read by reading the big book. Just blew my. And he was a decorated officer. Now put that in your pipe and don't smoke it.
Yeah, great and wonderful man.
Yeah, really cool. So here's some tips for setting some good expectations. Okay. Number one, determine the expectations early on. When you determine your self-expectations early on, you'll know which direction you should go. It also sets the tone for your pace and creative endeavors while encouraging accountability. So kind of make a plan, Don't just go off willy-nilly. Number two, learn to let go. Aha. When you don't meet your expectations, you may experience negative feelings. Letting go can help you focus and meet your goals. Letting go doesn't mean that you should ignore your emotions. Instead, it means you should acknowledge your feelings and let go as you work to overcome what happened. In other words, feel your feelings, feel the disappointment, but don't let it knock you off your center.
Very true. Very true.
Number three, practice positive self-talk. Now, I am not a name it and claim it guy. I am not a blab it and grab it guy.
Why not?
Because I think we teach people that you cannot, well, if you just say it over and over again, you'll manifest it, darling. No, you won't. But there is something to be said about negative self-talk.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely. So if God spoke this world into existence, and I believe he did, right? And we're created in the image of our Creator, then it stands to reason that we kind of speak our world into existence too, right? And
Yes.
if I'm constantly verbally throwing darts at myself, what do I expect from that?
Well, it starts in the brain, goes down to the heart, and then comes out your mouth. So you're going to hear it. You're going to regurgitate all that negative crosstalk, everything you've ever heard.
Yeah.
You're going to start believing it more. You keep on this circle of hearing this garbage. It's what you're going to start emulating in your life.
And somebody listening right now is going, yeah, but you don't know my situation. No, we don't. But guess what? We're you. We're not that different.
No, we've been there, done that. I mean, 10 plus years ago. Thank God I finally got the message.
Do you think that sometimes we believe we're supposed to beat ourselves up to really show we're sorry?
Not so much beat ourselves up, but I think we have to go through a portion of why are you doing this? And yeah, it might come down, why did you do that again? And go through the process, because if we don't know what happened, you're going to continue to do the same thing over and over again. A lot of self-discipline when it comes to me.
So it's okay to feel the feelings of disappointment, but that doesn't mean that you have to thrash on yourself like the Gnostic did. They would whip themselves into submission.
Those are crazy people.
Yeah, but we kind of do that sometimes. I mean,
mentally, yes.
Yeah,
but sometimes that's what it takes.
That statement that I've said to myself before, there you go again. It's almost like saying, well, what did you expect? You're always going to be that way. That's not good.
Insanity. Keep on doing the same thing, expecting different outcomes.
Positive self-talk. Okay, here's one. Give yourself time and grace. I really like that. While it's good to set deadlines, setbacks happen. You might not accomplish your goals in your planned time frame. That's okay. Give yourself time and grace allows you to reach your goals and live up to your expectations without experiencing burnout. So I admittedly am one of those guys that would have to say that instant gratification takes way too long.
Come on, chocolate milk. Ice cream in
That
a
is
bowl.
a quote from a movie Meryl Streep plays in called Postcards from the Edge. And I think she's having a discussion with her therapist or something. And she said, instant gratification takes way too long. And I'm like, wow, man, do I identify with that.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, great movie. Shirley MacLaine plays her mom.
Oh.
And she plays an alcoholic mother. And Meryl Streep plays the drug addict daughter who goes to treatment and all. And she comes home and her mother, she's talking to her mother's just ragging on her about her being in this unhealthy relationship. And she looks at her mother and she goes, you alcoholic? She's holding Shirley MacLaine's holding a martini in her hand. And she goes, you're an alcoholic. What are you talking about? And she goes, I drink socially. And Meryl Streep says, well, I draw acid socially. Great movie. Postcards from the Edge. You gotta see it. So give yourself some time and grace. Give yourself a break. And here's the last one. Focus on what you've accomplished. That is always good. To look back and go, whoa, I am not the guy I was 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I barely recognize some of the aspects of that guy. That is really healthy to do.
Yes.
Feeling frustrated with yourself can lead to unrealistic expectations. If this happens, you can think about what you've accomplished, which can help you keep things in perspective. It can also help you find pleasure in what you do, knowing you've developed along the way. Absolutely.
Isn't that when you take a time out and just think about what's going on and why you're feeling frustrated? To come back with a new perspective, new sight, new vision.
We move way too fast, I think, through life.
For me, I over the last year, because of surgeries and such on my right arm, shoulder, and wrist, and recovery from that type of thing, I have had to slow down, and my expectations, I had to drop them down because they were unrealistic, such as, is the house going to be clean? Am I able to do this, or am I able to do that? And I started beating up on myself. Back when it was drudgery, cold, wet, rainy season, sat in a recliner. And as things have progressed, I'm getting more use of my right arm and everything. I'm seeing where, man, look where you came from. Look at you have a house.
Yeah.
You have a garage full of equipment that 10 years ago you didn't have. You didn't have this place 15 years ago. You've been blessed beyond your wildest imagination.
Yeah.
And you have so much more than you ever asked for. So my expectations, they're very minimal now. I just want to have a good life and try to be that emphasis of you can achieve great things in sobriety if you have that problem. And if not, all the much better for you. But if you do, look at the people that have 20, 30, 40, 50 years of sobriety and the great things they've done. And their expectation when they first started out, they just wanted to be sober. They wanted to have a normal life. Does everything come out perfectly? No. But my expectation is 10 years from now, I'll still be sober. And I'll have a great life still. I'll have achieved those goals that I set for myself, which I hadn't done before, which was get drunk every single night.
Yes. And it's easy to find people that have long-term sobriety that are miserable. It's easy to find them.
Yes.
So challenge yourself and look for the people that have long-term sobriety who really are living the dream.
Yes.
Right. And it doesn't mean they're rich. Maybe they are. But it means that they're rich in spirit. They may have very little, but they have it all. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing. When I hear somebody in a meeting say, I have absolutely everything that I need right now as I sit here this moment, I go, that's the kind of person I want to learn from.
Yes.
Right? Because you look at them and they had to walk because their car's not working, but they showed up. Or they lost the last 3 jobs because of layoffs, and they're still putting in applications anyway. And they're beaming from ear to ear. I know a guy, Johnny Marsh is a buddy of mine, and you've met him. He goes to Friday night on occasion. But this guy was, if anybody was voted the less likely to succeed, this guy would have been.
Very true. Very true.
This guy just keeps plugging away. Now he's a director, a part of a community health project that he's doing. He's involved in the soup kitchen. He does amazing stuff. Johnny has very little that most people would consider, material things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's got everything.
But he's
got
blessed,
and
and
he's
he knows
blessed,
that.
and he's got a great relationship with the Lord, and his family's back together. I mean, it's because he has refused to allow his circumstances to knock him off his center. He just refused to do it.
Exactly.
And he has expectations of himself. So are expectations ever justified? The original question.
Yes.
I think so. I think so. Can they not be? Yeah, I think so. It's like you're saying, right? Depending on the circumstance.
Yes.
Yeah.
My expectations, though, have to line up. My actions and my words have to line up with each other. So my expectation is on me. It's not on anybody else.
Right.
Because that's when I start to fail, and they fail too.
If you hadn't have done this, I wouldn't have done that.
Yep. I went out drinking because you weren't at the meeting. Yeah. Give me a break.
I remember my dad, and I had several years of sobriety. I don't know if I had several years of recovery, because there's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
But my dad and I got into this argument, which we seldom ever did. And he was pulling out of the driveway in his Ford Taurus,
Ooh,
right? And I said, "You're the reason I drank and used."
Oh. Whoa.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Great parting woods.
Nothing could have been further from the truth. And then we didn't speak for about 2 months.
I'm sorry.
But no, we mended that. What comes out of our mouths sometimes is not always the wisest, of things. So our expectations ever justified? Yeah, I believe they are. What do we do with them if they're not met? That's the ticket. And some people say expectations are just resentments waiting to happen. I don't necessarily think so. It's how you're determined to respond to them, whether the resentment's going to happen or not. People don't give us resentments, Jack. We build them all by ourselves.
Yes.
We have the mortar and the tools, and we can do it very well.
Yes.
All right. Our closing song for this episode is called Buddha Boogie, and it is by Tommy Buddha, Blues Buddha Dudley. He's changed his name a couple of times. It was Blues Buddha for a while. He walked into a venue, and somebody said, "Here comes the Buddha Blues," and so it just kind of took. But we're going to be playing this song next week, too, along with some other ones from him. But I thought I'd give you guys a sneak peek at Tommy Buddha Dudley's song, Buddha Boogie. So here he is, very positive, very upbeat. Here's Tommy. Uh-huh.
First you must surrender to the beat. Have some hope and get up on your feet. Keep your faith in the right direction. Search your soul and gain reflection. Come on, people, do the Buddha Boogie with me. Be as humble as you can be. Love
Tommy Buddha Dudley will be with us with more of his music. Well, my friends, until our next broadcast, this is the Monty Man, along with Roger in spirit, and Jack McCann and the rest of the Take 12 Recovery Radio family, and we are wishing God's perfect serenity for each and every one of you.
Don't let the weights of the past keep you down. There's a melody here to turn it around. In each story and song you'll find a friend, a chorus of courage that'll never end.
This has been a broadcast of Take 12 Recovery Radio and KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.
Kitty.
This has been a Chicken and a Pig production.